what's up everybody? It's Adam Iniquity here with the video that I had promised earlier. With me today is Michael W. Ford. You might know him from his occult works with Luciferianism. And we're just going to discuss, some of the stuff that's different and what, we have a common compare and contrast kind of thing between our beliefs. Because I get a lot of questions about stuff that I don't have any clue how to answer, because people like to assume that I do the same sort of thing he does or know everything that he knows, because we associate each other with each other a lot, So, you want anything to say?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. First thing I'll say is, as a Luciferian, everybody who feels that ideology and magical path always kind of do things their own way, manifest their own way. You're a unique individual, just as I am, and anybody else who finds their own path. So there's always, differences and variations, and I think that's what makes us all interesting, to the sense that we bring something new to the occult genre, and just in general to everything we do.
Yeah, people assume that I'm some sort of poster child for Luciferianism, that you raised or something, because they ask me all these questions about people like LaVey or Crowley and stuff. Honestly, I haven't read a single book by them or any works. I'm kind of myself. Some people, I think, see the figureheads and stuff as almost like a deity in themselves, and they expect everything to be followed. I don't place you any higher than me on the totem scale, the totem pole or whatever. And I mean, we all have our own niche. I think everybody should live for themselves and put nobody else's beliefs. Why should I follow what you believe? It's worked for you, that's cool. I mean, I could learn from it, but I'm not I haven't studied all of Middle Eastern culture like you have,
Yeah, and, I'll say that, first off, I am a god, and I should be worshipped, and I'm kidding. Actually, like I've always told you, Luciferianism is about the individual and about what works for you. A lot of the things I research, most people, and I know this from just talking to people, that they're not going to get into all that. And I understand that, but part of my true will is to bring that out and present that to whatever level people want. One thing that has to be understood, and I think even I have read Anton LaVey a lot, and the thing with, quote, figureheads, we're people, just like anybody else, and I have my daemon, true will, and I have the person I am sitting here right now, and I don't expect people to follow me. I want them to think for themselves and use the works in their own way and adapt them.
Following you is good if it's Twitter or YouTube. You can subscribe to either one of us.
Yeah, YouTube is a great place to do that. If you want to follow.
Yeah, shit. I put everybody on equal terms, but one of the things I can't stand is ignorance and stuff like that. When people start stating claims. That's why I had Michael on with me today, because I didn't want to say anything and to put my foot in my mouth, saying, well, I believe this, Michael believes this. I don't want to speak for him. That's why I had him on here, so he could speak for himself. But I mean, when people start putting claims out, what you believe, or assuming assumptions, gives you negative feelings.
Yeah, it can definitely, because Luciferianism in some ways is it has a root and continues to grow within kind of parallel with science, and also at the same time, which is kind of interesting, is mythology. And you've got to be open to new ideas, to new ways, and to adapt that. It's really bad when people get dogmatic beliefs and they try to impose their subjective world on everyone else. If I were to come to you and say, I summoned a demon yesterday,
Sweet.
Yeah, and I want to describe it to you and you draw it, but first you have to stop and just tell me you believe in it. That's ridiculous. You have to test things.
Why believe in religion anyway? Like when I first started talking to you about this stuff, like I was the typical skeptical scientist and stuff, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's cool. It makes sense all what you're saying, but why bother labeling it Luciferianism? Why can't you just say this is how my mind thinks? It's all subjective anyway. So why tell other people about it? Why do you write your books?
Well, like originally, the books were just a reflection of my magical workings for other people that were like me, that were doing the same thing or similar. As it expanded, it became kind of a foundation was an ideology, and it started to express itself in really strange ways. Different people from all walks of life would utilize this and have experiences. Luciferianism is not religion per se. It's first an ideology, steps that you take to train your mind to be at one with not only the natural role of the predator, but also the kind of cooperator in a way that you utilize your surroundings to your best of your ability. And the ideology of a conqueror, someone who overcomes their obstacles. And then if you get into the magic part, which is the next step usually, then you open a current within yourself to build a continuing experience kind of ladder, if you will. Those experiences and results that you get then bring a faith in the self. That's where spirituality and your true will, and if people said religion, that would come in. It's something within yourself. Once you do that, no one will break that because it's personal, it's subjective. But you had that experience. You know you can do that.
So you're saying like you wrote books to strengthen your own belief. Like if you see other people giving you positive feedback, then it just got to show you results, right?
In a way, originally it was very selfish. It was just to share my magical workings. I was always into magic, but never within a cookie cutter. I didn't fit within any organizations or any people that were out at that time. There were a few like-minded people, but I had this driving sense of duty that I had to do this, not because something stood in front of me and spoke to me with a hood and pointed its finger, but because it came from within. I visually knew what I had to do. And so, yeah, in a way, it's like everyone who uses it, they get success, then the path expands, and that's what I get my, payback from. It's selfish, yeah.
Everything's selfish, you know?
Yeah, any act people do is always selfish, no matter if you're Christian, it doesn't matter. Even if it's charity, it's selfish, because there's a mutual...
there's an underlying, even if it's just because you like the feeling it gives you.
Yeah. Or that you think you're going to get good points with the church if you do something like charity.
That's why Mother Teresa was always she's selfless, yeah, according to society, but I've always seen her as being selfish.
Yeah, I don't believe
I think Hitler was more selfless than Mother Teresa, because he was doing better for society, his society.
Yeah, his version of society. I think everybody who gets into predatory spirituality, which is like a very... It would be summed up in that drawing of like Cain, the daemon that you were talking about, that predatory instinct to devour and conquer. People like Hitler, and trying to understand predatory spirituality, you start to look at fascism. Well, I studied fascism. The past couple of years, I got down to some fine points, like where is Luciferianism different from that? And people like Hitler, they didn't understand that any race or culture can be a master culture or race for a period of time if the circumstances are right. So there is no superior race. And that Luciferianism would not put the state before the person. Right. You have to say, this is right for me, but now that it's right for me, I have to make sure that I don't get in the way of somebody else's natural course. I should cooperate because that will ensure a security. So it's like a balance.
So I think I'm more. I more tend to think I'm towards Machiavellianism.
Yeah.
Kind of like I'll do whatever it takes to get to the top.
Yeah.
But like you said, I don't really want to hurt other people or interfere with what they do.
Unless someone crosses.
I mean,
you,
yeah.
What do you think?
It's like, I don't know. There's always been a hit and a miss. There's always been is that too far? I question my ethics a lot because in a lot of cases I don't have any morals. But,
morals get in the way for the most part.
I mean, I've done a lot of different shit. Like, I've sold friends and family drugs. I've done all that shit before in the past that makes me question, like, is that good? But, I mean, it benefited me at the time. And then I look at it now as, like, did they recover from that? Maybe I'd probably feel guilty in the long run. And if they didn't, if they went on a crash course or something like that, I would probably help them out.
Well,
because that would just make me feel better about myself. It's all selfish.
Yeah, I mean, like, when it comes down to it, I separate things in this way. If I have someone who is considered friend, then I will not do anything underhanded to them. But if somebody is my enemy, then I have only joy in destroying them whatever way I can. But when it comes to like family and stuff like that, I'm talking about those I choose to be family. I'm not talking about my blood relatives.
Yeah, there's like a hierarchy of...
Yeah.
Like, I consider you friend and family.
Definitely.
Because I put friends before family a lot of the times, and you're a good associate of mine, and, I wouldn't do anything to harm your life, your career, or anything.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, I mean, that's, and loyalty, like, for me is a big thing. Loyalty is part of the thing that builds you. More than, people talk about morals. Morals are opinions based on whatever serves the needs of the people at the time. I don't believe in good and evil. I don't think it exists. I think, like, if you sold this to family or friends, then you shouldn't feel guilty because if they took it, that's their own choice. You know what I mean?
I think everything, like good and evil, I see it as existing based off the fact that there are words for it. It's the logistic fallacy to think that if there's a word for something, there's time, it's in history, that it doesn't exist, because nothingness only exists in space and language and time. But, I mean, since it does exist, I think they have to coexist. There's no separate entity for either one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if I were to sell something to somebody, or not even sell, I'm off that topic, but, I mean, if I were to do something bad to somebody, they would see it as bad only if they could also appreciate the good of the opposite. And I think that life is just a bunch of realizations. Nobody can. You have to understand the good from visiting the bad and so forth.
You look at, like history. I'm not big into American history, but you look at like Thanksgiving, that holiday, and I'm sure you remember in school how they would have the turkeys on the wall and everyone's wearing the like little hats and the little fake guns. Well, back then for me. Yeah, now it's bad. But that holiday exists only because one of the settlers assisted other Indian tribe in attacking and killing their rivals. It was born in blood. And if you look at what we did to the Indians, we basically did our own little version of the Holocaust in our own way without a genetic thing behind it. And that was good because that was for America, even though they were here. It was kind of that whole, if you can crush it, then let it be crushed.
You can snort it.
Yeah. Smoke it.
Big thing about, like, one big thing, people always look to me for details. Like, they ask me questions about stuff, they want specifics. Like, I don't really, I think they take into thought that I looked that shit up because I am well read, but I don't really concern myself with that. I'm not a big history buff.
Yeah.
If they ask me any questions about Middle Eastern stuff, like dealing with Mascomhole, that sort of thing. I mean, I can tell you concepts. I'm really good with that, but I'm not with details because I don't study history because it doesn't concern me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it does to say if you view that history repeats itself, but I mean, when you're talking about dead cultures that aren't around anymore, I'm pretty sure they're not going to come back unless it's some sort of, you know, neo-Nazi type of uprising or some shit.
Yeah. Well, you know, with what you said, a lot of people, I don't think need to be, especially with Luciferianism, need to be into Middle Eastern culture or history.
A lot of people get fixated on those details.
And, you know, that's really for the magical part of it. And, you know, because I'm big on authenticity, if you're going to work with Beelzebub, then you should know the culture, that, you know, and people will be varied on how they approach it, how they get into that. And how
you kind of go like fanatical about it. You read into everything.
Yeah, because
which is cool because I mean, you want to make extraordinary claims. You have to have extraordinary results and.
The
evidence.
Etymology and the archaeological evidence is important in trying to convey. You know, I'm trying to put authenticity into the left-hand path as it would be natural with the next step beyond Anton LaVey, and that's what I'm doing. And it's important that other upcoming occult authors, whatever they are, push themselves to that limit too. You know, people, but the common everyday person who gets into Luciferianism doesn't have to get that deep into it. It's up to them. The only thing I'll tell you about the ancient cultures that's significant is that there are traits and ways, especially Machiavellian ways, that the strong and the leaders who exhibit Luciferian traits, how they did things. And that's what I find interesting. And the records that they left that are different when you really study them than what history often shows you in an encyclopedia or on Wikipedia or something.
Because you can make detailed recitings of, you know, literature and stuff all day, but I think like showing results means more. It speaks louder than actions. Like it doesn't mean anything to me if somebody comes up and says, you know what, you're wrong for thinking this. It was LaVey that did this, whatever. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You're in a station wagon driving your 8 kids to welfare, you know.
Yeah, you know, I get a lot of emails, and I wish there was a way that I could answer probably 80% of the questions because 80% are good. The other remaining ones are ones like, you know, I'm a theistic Satanist, or I don't believe in Satan at all, or I'm Christian, I'm a student at a Bible college, and I'm really interested in your works. I actually get more from those people than the ones telling me they worship Satan or how can I summon Belial into my mother's basement. You know, I don't really know how to relate because I'll write them back and I'll say, research this, this, and this. I'll give them some key points. You know, a guy named Stephen Flowers, who is well known in the Temple of Set crowd. He's one of the best rune Germanic magic authors. Guys. PhD as a professor, from what I know. Love his stuff. He sent me this article on Mephistopheles and Lucifer from the Fraternus Saturni, one of those Crowley groups that was in German. And he would actually tell research points in German when he writes you back. That meant more to me than someone saying, oh yes, hail brother, worship Satan. You know, that's what I try to do, is give them a few points to research. That's why I do these.
I think like everything has to be extreme to one point or the other. So if it's like somebody writes me back, like saying I saw faults in, you know, this or that, it means a lot more to me than somebody saying they appreciate my stuff sometimes, because I may not benefit from that. Like, I don't know how long, like, out of all my YouTube videos, I have 1 dislike. Right? I'm not saying go out and dislike all my shit, it's not cool. But I have 1 dislike on all of the videos, and that's on my Psychonaut DJ mix song that I put together. And that meant more than all of the people that liked it, because I knew it was kind of just a mixed collaboration thing. But it's like, oh shit, I have to start paying attention. I'm getting sloppy, you know.
I've used every single useful criticism, constructive criticism put at me, and I probably have more of those than I do books. And I've used them, every single one, to make myself a better author, better research, and the ones who just say pointless stuff because they want to be an author too, or they're rivals, even though I'd smash them, you know, in any given chance. Destroy, totally. I don't care about those people, you know. If they don't have something useful to criticize me about, like an error in your research, which you're not going to find. You might find some spelling shit, but you're not going to find anything like that. That's what I want to see, you know, that type of stuff. I'll listen to that.
Sometimes I'll write myself letters because I'm my biggest critic.
Yeah, sometimes that's why I carry this book. I have to read my own book because I don't like any other books because I didn't write them. No, that's total bullshit. It's not true. I just have a lot in here I have to read over and over.
Yeah, I think I analyze myself too much because I'm a perfectionist kind of thing. Like, if somebody gets a piece of art that's late or takes me too long, it's because I'm probably sitting there going over the same couple shades of color or the same
I've seen
lines,
it. I've seen it. It happens. It can take all day.
I don't want to release something until I'm satisfied with it. And that could just be a matter of changing the day, too. Like, I'll be happy with it tomorrow, but it wasn't today. But in that time, I'm going to work on that same part until tomorrow comes.
And use only half sentences or random words when you're expressing that.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Totally get geeked out.
Yeah, and I actually understand it. Yeah. You know, that's the thing with this type of... All we can hope for is that it inspires someone to manifest that in their own way. You know, that's what art and writings or whatever are good for.
I almost lost what the point of this video was about because it's hitting around the 20-minute mark, 22 minutes, so
yeah.
I think we're going to call it quits right now before it turns into more psychobabble drama.
You guys
shit.
don't want us to ramble for hours because we will.
We definitely have done it before.
Yeah.
Those are going to be on some blooper reel videos and future Luciferianism DVDs.
Yeah.
But if you guys want anything, if you liked this discussion or whatever, feel free to like and subscribe to both Michael's channel and mine.
Send questions.
Some questions would be great. Just post some more, and we'll post another video coming up shortly. I think we're going to make this like a 3-parter, not sure. Depends on what we can think of. But appreciate you coming.
Yes, appreciate it. Having me on here, in this chair, in this spot.
In that exact spot.
Yeah.
Alright, this is Adam Iniquity and Michael Ford. Or Michael W. Ford, sorry. I do that all the time.
Yeah, because there's many of us.
I forgot it's important initial. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.